What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Need for Speed Unbound. Finally, a new Need for Speed game. It's been 3 years, 3 whole years. EA been holding out on us. Anyways, so I'm going to be talking about my overall thoughts, opinions about the new game, and yeah, I asked you guys on my Instagram if you wanted me to do my thoughts, opinions, maybe a little review on the new game. So let's get into it. All right, so let's address the elephant in the room here. Need for Speed Unbound. When I first saw the trailer, my biggest takeaway from the whole reveal was the art style, the direction. Automatically, I was a bit thrown off by the whole cartoony vibe. I wasn't sure what to think of it. I mean, it gave me a bit of the Into the Spider-Verse kind of vibes, especially when I played the game more. But just initial, the visual art style, the whole the smoke graphics, the whole driving art style and everything, with the real life car graphics, with the anime of the characters. It was an interesting approach. I wasn't sure what to think, but it is run now by Criterion Games. Moving forward, Ghost Games is now dead, RIP to them. But I believe a few people from Ghost Games went back to Criterion, and Criterion is responsible, just so you know, for some older Need for Speed titles, and they also responsible for the Burnout series. So a lot of the crash mechanics and all that stuff definitely shows in this new game. But I would say it was a good decision. Ghost Games, don't get me wrong, they did a good reboot of trying to reinvigorate the franchise, but yeah, it's definitely a new chapter in Need for Speed. I think we'll dive into this more, but so far with the art direction, it makes sense, and I'll explain why. Alright, so for the initial gameplay of Need for Speed Unbound, I would say that it's a gradual step up from last Need for Speed, which was Need for Speed Heat that came out in 2019. There was definitely a good shift in direction of how Need for Speed, like the handling and everything. It's still very arcadey, but you have a bit more control in terms of the way the cars handle. It's not all like crazy drifty cars. There's some really grippy cars too now. The whole overall mechanics have definitely been tweaked and refined. You can definitely tell when driving different sorts of cars. Like if you drive a big old muscle car and then you get into a tuner car, you can automatically tell the difference in terms of how the car feels, how it handles, the performance behind it. But yeah, they definitely got that down packed. Like each car definitely feels different now. Also, the car models. Sorry about that. The car models, they look phenomenal. Especially since this game was my first game I really got into for next gen. I just recently bought myself a new Xbox Series S. Primarily because of this game, because I knew that they didn't support it on last gen consoles, so I was like, all right, I guess this is the time to upgrade. So since I'm an avid Need for Speed fan, I've played every entry since Need for Speed Underground, the original. I would like to say that my opinion definitely does matter most, especially going with the older fans. This game, like a lot of people have been asking me, because people are 50-50 about this one. They're not sure if they should buy it or not, and this is my personal opinion. If you're watching this, Need for Speed Unbound for me personally felt like a spiritual successor to the Underground 1 and Underground 2 games. The whole vibe, the whole night scene and everything, it definitely gave me Underground vibes for sure. And the whole backstory behind the game too. It is a typical like not Fast and Furious story, but like a car story. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it definitely gives you motive in the game to continue the story and see how it unfolds. Like it definitely had me intrigued. I mean, I beat the game within like 3 days of it coming out, so I mean that's just me. I'm a bit but anyways, the game definitely was interesting. It definitely had me coming back. I wouldn't say it was a letdown in any sort. So the car models look good. The car list also, it's around 140 cars, give or take. I'm sure they're gonna add more. I do know, reading in articles that they were, the biggest disappointment from Need for Speed Heat is that there was very little like DLC or add-ons post game. After like 3-4 months of the game being out, it was pretty much dead. There was no updates, there was no content being released. Apparently Criterion is planning to put out lots more content moving forward. That means new cars, new maybe extensions of the story mode, who knows. The online mode, by the way, is its own separate thing, which is cool, but if you're new to the whole thing, if you grind away in your story mode, you're going to be starting fresh in online mode, so just keep that in mind. The mods too in this game are ridiculous. That's one thing I always loved about Need for Speed games, especially since 2015, Need for Speed 2015. The modifications for every car that I've bought so far, which isn't a lot, I probably have like 10 or 15 cars, but every car I've bought, there is a crazy amount of body kits, even separate body panels and everything can be changed or removed. The first time this year, or in a Need for Speed game, you can actually remove body panels, like such as the front bumper, rear bumper. You can remove them and you can have it off, basically. Before it was just a glitch kind of thing, but now you can actually drive around without it. Non-glitch required. Now this game isn't all sunshine and rainbows kind of thing. I will say probably one of the most annoying takeaways from this game have got to be absolutely the cops. The cops in this game are super rigged, super annoying. Like there was this instance where I was in like 4 out of 5 heats, so heat 5 is the highest you can go. I was like, I think 4 or 4.5, like almost top heat in a chase, and being as a guy that would be running from the cops, you'd be jumping over anything possible to get away from them in Need for Speed World. So I'm jumping over like all kinds of crazy things, not thinking that the cops would come after me, which it didn't for a bit. I was getting away and I just see this little dot just moving like gliding across the map, and just so happens to spawn right behind me when I'm like literally yards and yards away from him. And then the helicopters get in. Then there's multiple helicopters. Then you got a bunch of SUVs. You got the Raptor, F-150s coming after you. It's just like, how is this even possible? It's like they Need for Speed just throws anything and everything at you to try and make it as impossible for you to get away as possible, and it is very, very annoying. That's definitely one thing I would say compared to Heat is the cop difficulty is excessively, unnecessarily difficult. It does become a bit easier when you have a faster car, especially when you get the S+, but it's the cops, man. Wow. So my overall takeaway from Need for Speed Unbound is that it's honestly one of my favorite Need for Speed games in a long time. I wouldn't say I haven't enjoyed the past. Every Need for Speed game since the reboot, I've thoroughly enjoyed. I've either replayed it over once again. Payback definitely was one of the low points in Need for Speed of modern times, but it's still the customization and everything was fun. Just the story was super corny. I hated the whole card system in that game, but yeah, every other Need for Speed 2015, not Payback, but Heat and now Unbound, pretty good games for me, like personally. But for Unbound specifically, I think they made a step in the right direction with the Criterion Games now taking control of the Need for Speed franchise. I think it's a necessary push in the right direction, like I said before. The car list is great. Obviously, Toyota is very much lacking from the franchise. Hopefully, they can sort that out with Toyota and have them back. But the gameplay is fun. The story is decent. I love that the whole online mechanic is separate from the story, so you kind of have like two different things going on. Like for example, in the campaign mode, I have a guy avatar. In the online mode, I have a girl avatar, and they're different voices. Obviously, they look completely different. It's just two separate things, which is cool. So it'd be cool to see in the future what Need for Speed does with the online specifically, if they have like a specific story mode or something going on for the online, kind of like how GTA did for GTA Online, has its own separate thing. So it'd be cool if Need for Speed can really tap into that. I think from like overall reviews and sales point, I think Unbound's doing pretty well. I think if you're watching this, you're interested or you're curious about this game. So I would say definitely try it. If you have the EA Play, I think they're doing this whole thing that you can play the game. If you're like a member or subscribed to EA Play, you can play the game for a full 10 hours before actually buying it. That's actually what I did, because I was a bit unsure about it too, to be honest. It's not a plug or anything. EA probably doesn't even know I'm making this video. But I'm just saying, this game is definitely worth a shot, especially if you haven't delved into a Need for Speed game in a long time. Need for Speed Unbound, definitely worth checking out. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Hopefully it was quick and effective, and hopefully I touched upon some things that might have you guys probably were interested or thinking about asking or looking for answers for this game. So if you watched this, you made it this far, thank you. Please like, comment, subscribe. Deeply appreciated. And yeah, hopefully I'll post new videos in the future. If there's something worth talking about or posting about, I'll definitely do it. And yeah, guys, thank you for those that wanted me to make a video on this. I was kind of on the fence about it, but it actually felt good to make a new video again. So hopefully this comes out pretty good. I don't know when it's gonna be out. The game's been out for about a week now, so that's just a timestamp on how long it took me to put this video out. Anyways, guys, love y'all, peace, and see you in the next one.